Hey guys, welcome back to the workshop. So today in this video, the next couple of videos, I want to put together a sort of a series to introduction to woodworking. Now it will be a total beginner's guide. So really this is aiming towards people who are just wanting to get into woodworking. Maybe they don't get any tools, it's just a thought in their mind and they don't know where to start. So in the next maybe 2 or 3 videos I'm going to be doing. In this video we're going to start with what tools you'll need, just basically a comprehensive guide to every single kind of hand tool that you will need to basically do anything. And we'll touch on, at the end I'll just touch on sort of the couple of projects that you can get started with. The next video we're going to look at some of the kind of power tools, the kind of machines that you use in woodworking, which will be a sort of thing later down on the line that you would get, not necessarily right now. And then maybe the next video after that, we can actually start doing a couple of wee projects, simple projects, where you can sort of build along. I will use, just the simple hand tools that I'm going to be showing you in this video, and we can put together a couple of things, maybe a wee small box, maybe a couple of tool holders. I'll need to think about it, but we'll make some simple wee thing that I can make and show you step by step, and you can follow along with it. And the basic principle behind it is it's the same principle that you would apply to a massive thing. So start small and you work your way up. So I will start the day with the hand tools, the tools of the trade when it comes to woodworking and just being able to make anything essentially with the hand tools. So I just a wee quick note before we get started. If you're totally new to woodworking, I'm going to just try and keep it as basic and simple as I can, and it's probably going to be a bit of a long video, but I'm going to try and fit as much information as possible that I can fit into this video. So maybe get yourself a wee notepad and just write down what you think is relevant and all the tools, and just take as much information as you can down as possible, and I'll just try and get as much information I can along the way. So let's get into it now, guys. So we've got basically 3 types of saws here. These 2 saws are what you call is ripping saws. These saws are for ripping, going against the grain, going with the grain, going up and down the grain. But these kind of saws, they are general purpose, so cut them up the grain or going across the grain. But with a saw like that, with thick big teeth, you maybe get like tear out, rip out. So saws like that for going with the grain. And you've got this kind of Japanese one, which is a pull saw, and this one here is got an aggressive set of teeth on it now, but you can use this saw for both cutting, going with the grain, and then cutting across the grain. This is a kind of good general purpose saw. This wee saw here is a dovetail saw. You could use this saw to cut joinery, whether it be dovetail joints or tenon joints, finger joints. This is a good general saw for doing that because the teeth are so fine, you're not going to get any tear out. So I always use that when I do joinery. This saw here is a coping saw, and you would use this saw to cut curves. You can get in and cut curves with this. This is a really, really useful and handy saw to have. So and these are another type of saw. These are a specialised specific saw for cutting tenon joints, and I've got 2 here. One that's got a very fine set of teeth on it, and then one that's really aggressive. So they are all the kind of saws that are out there and that you would need to do any kind of joinery, any kind of cutting. So we'll move on to the next things. So now we'll talk about chisels. Now obviously when it comes to woodworking, chisels are one of the most important thing, especially when it comes to joinery. You know, chisels is what that's the main tool when it comes to joinery, you know. So but obviously chisels have got an array functions and just different applications, but most of the time when it comes to chisels, it is joinery. When you are creating different types of joints, then chisels are what you're going to use to create the joints. So, and obviously you've got different types of chisels for different types of joinery. And you've got, you know, just your normal flat beveled chisels. You've got all different sizes, right up to, you know, a good 1.5 inches, down to your kind of 1 centimetre. And again, just for all different types of joinery. And then you've got your beveled or gouge chiseled, sorry, which these chisels would mainly be for, you know, carving and stuff. But again, just various applications. Chisels are really useful tools. When it comes to actually getting, you know, your first set of chisels, it comes down to what you're going to use them for. Are you somebody that's going to be focusing on joinery, or are you just generally going to be making things? And how much are you going to be using the chisels? Is it going to be, you know, once a week or every day? Regardless, there's chisels that are inferior and there's ones that are superior. So, and the inferior ones are just the carbon content in the metals not as much as your superior ones. So all that means basically is that the inferior chisels with the, you know, crappier metal, they won't hold a edge for as long as what your better chisels would. So you can pick a set of chisels up for pretty cheap nowadays. I've seen, you know, a set of 5 chisels going for your inch right away down to your, you know, 1/4 for like a tenner. They're obviously inferior chisels, but you can still get them as sharp as your top of the line, you know, set that costs hundreds of pounds. So again, it's just your preference and what you're willing to spend on them. But chisels are obviously a very important tool when it comes to woodworking. So choose wisely when it comes to chisels. But to begin with, I would just buy some cheap ones, and then as you progress, then you can think about buying better ones. So the next thing, of course, is going to be your rulers, you know, your squares, your combination squares. These are obviously a vital tool when it comes to woodworking to create a straight line off the edge of your board. You know, got your board, you want that straight line. That's what these are perfect for. You've obviously got your combination one, which gives you the 90, but it also gives you the 45 for miters and stuff. So useful tools to have, definitely a must when it comes to woodworking. And as I said, there's an array of different, you know, rulers and protractors and just all sorts of different tools for measuring. They're endless like that. I'm saying, I bought these they're veneer calipers, but they're digital calipers, and they are a useful tool to have. I bought these right away back at the start as well. I've had these for years. I only paid a tenner for them, and they've lasted well. Now, they're not as precise as the better quality ones, but they do the job. They do, trust me. So measuring stuff is needed. Obviously, measuring tapes, all your measuring equipment is something that's important for woodworking. Unless you're just that kind of guy that does it all by eye, then but you're still going to need some measuring equipment and some straight edges and that. So a must for woodworking. You've obviously got your bevel gauge as well, and that's if you want to find a certain angle and you want to repeat that angle, you know. You want to cut it at a certain angle. Get that up there like that. Get your angle in. Mark it. And such. And then you've got your protractor as well, which I use this for dovetails. You know, there, you dial it in. I always do my dovetails about 8, 9. Depends the size of the box I'm doing. Repeatable. So aye. Must tools for any woodworker. A speed square is also handy. Speed square and your, you know, basically the same things, but that's a kind of roofer's square. You've got all these kind of markings and degrees here. You know, that's if you were out in the, you know, the work site and you know, the carpenter, you know, making the roof like that. Whereas this one's maybe where your, you know, your joiner, your at-home hobbyist woodworker. So aye, just as I said, as the jobs come and you see the need for the tool, you get the tool. You know what I mean? So I will move on to the next thing. So I think that's about it. As I said, you know, if I miss anything like that, then hopefully if more experienced woodworkers, even more experienced than myself, of course, will get into the comments and maybe help the people out who they comment, who are seeking some advice, you know. So aye, of course that's appreciated. That's what it's all about, you know. Right, we'll move on to the next thing. So aye, then the next thing really is your marking stuff, you know, and I've always used mechanical pencils because they're just so thin when you're marking joints. If you were using a big pencil like that, you know, cutting on that joint, you're not going to get it as precise as if you were cutting on a joint with a mechanical pencil like that. So aye, mechanical pencils for me are the way to go, or a marking knife itself. And I made this knife and it's been invaluable since I made it. Again, you can get right up there and, you know, mark your joints. Same with this tool here. You might be wondering what it is. Again, if you're marking wood, whether it be for planing or for marking morts and tenon joints, you know, like I use it for planing a lot. You know, you would, if you want to just take a wee bit off, you would simply bring it up to your mark, you know, dial it in, we'll tighten it, and then scratch your line all right across that, and then you've got that consistent line there that you can plane to, or on this side here, you know, if you're making your mortise and tenons, you know, it's exactly what it's for. You've got that mark there and you're cutting right on that. Not a useful tool. It's not a tool I use that often, but when I do, it's invaluable. And then a good quality compass as well. Need something for marking circles, just marking stuff, pens and pencils, and sort of an extension of the, you know, the rulers and the squares and, you know, the protractor, things like that. But aye. So I guess on to the next thing. So, and obviously you're going to need some decent mallets. And again, I made these mallets when I first bought my workshop, and they've lasted me good. I definitely need to make some new ones, but again, invaluable when you're doing woodworking, doing joinery and stuff. You want to use wood to hit wood, you know, like obviously you want to pick up yourself some metal hammers with the pin end in that as well for other uses, you know. They've always got their application, but aye, definitely some decent mallets. And again, that's a project that you can take on yourself. Aye, so we'll move on. So aye, and this is obviously a hand plane. It's a number 4 hand plane. Now, and don't be intimidated by it, you know. They're pretty simple devices, you know. They're for planing wood, for straightening up, you know, taking cuts and taking twists, or taking thickness away for wood. You know, just get this cap plate here. you've got the blade there, and then you've got the cap plate there. I can't remember what that's actually called, but and very, very useful tool when it comes to woodworking, and something that will keep you fit. And when it comes to woodworking, you will only need this one, this number 4. This will do everything that you need. As you get on, you know, you get number 4. Maybe get the wider one, 4.5. And I honestly just use this one. Well, no, this one specifically. I actually got all mine on eBay, you know, kind of all rusted ones, as you can tell, and I restored them all. Same with that one there, and I restored them all. Same with this one here, that's a number 5. Now, these ones you can pick up pretty cheap on eBay, 10-15 quid. That one, maybe a wee bit more. This one again, a good bit more. And then you've got obviously the kind of daddy 8, you know, the number 7. These ones are for planing big massive bits of wood. So it's actually number 6, sorry. There's the one up for that, which is the number 7, and that's the big daddy one. And I bought this one as a spares or repairs. It was broke here, and it was just total rusted, and I restored it. I restored that one, and I restored this other wee one here. So eBay is your friend when it comes to all this stuff. Don't think that you need to go out and buy brand new, because you don't, honestly. If you're willing just to put a wee bit of hard work in, dismantle things, see how it works, clean it up, de-rust it all, maybe put a wee bit of paint on it, and then most importantly, a sharpening stone. And again, don't be intimidated. Oh, I don't know how to sharpen that, you know. Pick up one of these honing guides, they're called. Honing guides. And you can sharp your plain iron in there and your chisels. This is what I used in the beginning, until I just, you know, started practicing myself. And again, it's all down to muscle memory, you know. Like, you can't be intimidated and scared. You need to throw yourself in the deep end, and you'll learn. And I promise you, you will learn if you're determined enough. You will learn. You may sharpen a lot of blades, and then just in one, you'll blunt it again, but you will learn for that experience. So, and again, it's just through practice. It's just through that sheer determination and practice, hard work, and their time, you'll gain that skill. And that goes for all things about woodworking, you know. Anything that's hard, well, the reward is in it at the end. Only you must put that work in. So when it comes to planing, you might be interested in the kind of older type planes. You know, when I first started getting into woodworking, I see all these old planes on eBay, and I'd be like, I need to rescue them and restore them. Know what I mean? And I did restore quite a few of them. This one. And I started to use them, and I learned very quickly, although these are very efficient in actually planing, cutting wood, they're a lot harder to use. That's my personal preference anyway. I was used to using the metal ones, and I just stuck to the metal ones. But they're nice to have, and I say all these ones here are kind of just different shaped ones, you know. They're kind of convex and concave ones, and you know, for cutting coves and stuff, like for skirting boards. There's quite a few different ones there. So it's just really doing to your preference, you know. These planes, working with these, it can be far more rewarding using these kind of old planes, you know, because they're wood. It is completely your preference. So we shall move on to the next item. So the next kind of item is clamps. That is something that you're definitely going to need when it comes to woodworking. Definitely. And there's loads of different clamps out there, but a main experience, you know, clamps are really expensive, they are, and I've always just sort of went for the kind of lower end clamps. and they do their job. It's sometimes it's a kind of hit and a miss because I've bought ones that, you know, that don't clamp. But I've got a good few of these ones, and these ones are solid. And I think the only difference really in the clamps, the cheaper ones, the more expensive ones, is maybe that the cheaper ones are kind of heavier, whereas the dearer ones are kind of more quality build. But I'm not sure, because I've not actually had any kind of sort of like Bessie clamps or anything like that, you know. They are just, they kind of clamps are just, they're far too expensive. But as I said, to get started, couple of clamps. These are just your standard F clamps, and then these are your, you know, your quick. And you would use these just to hold it in place whilst you get the, you know, the glue if you're just about to screw or something. Like, aye, so, and then this kind of big sash clamp here if you got to like make tables, or, you know, if you're going to join, you know, loads of slats of wood together or something, you know. That's what they're good for. But you will definitely need clamps, so aye, that's something else to go on the list, is clamps, definitely. So the next thing you're going to need is some decent files and rasps. The main one is probably rasps. Now, this is probably my favourite one. I bought this off Amazon, I think it was about £20, and it is an amazing rasp because it's like a wee hacksaw file, got a really coarse teeth and then really fine teeth, and that will hack away at a lot of wood fast. But that is a good one, the Shinto one. And then obviously your kind of metalwork files, they are still invaluable when it comes to woodworking, you know, all sorts of shapes, all sorts of sizes, files and rasps. Big massive one I've got here. I've got quite a few of these big ones. Like, again, eBay job, you know what I mean? That's a really good one as well if you want to hog away a lot of wood. And then files for your fine wood, you know, finishing it off, smoothing it, whatnot. But I definitely rasps and files. So let's move on to the next one. I just wanted to add this in here. This is a sole plane. Now, again, this is a kind of specialised item. I'd say that a sole plane is more for, you know, maybe a furniture maker, you know, somebody who's making spindles and, you know, leg parts and stuff. But this has been a you know, an invaluable tool for me when I've been doing woodworking. Sole plane number 151, and these can be a bit pricey, you know, but they are a useful tool to have. And again, it's maybe not something that you need straight away, but as I say, I just thought I'd throw it in because it's been an invaluable tool for me at times. So definitely, it's a cool tool. So we'll move on to the next one. So I'm going to try and just leave kind of big machines out here, but because they can be a bit pricey, the bigger machines. But drills are relatively cheap. But the drill that I used for like 2 years was one that I got for Lido. Now, obviously people for the UK will know what I'm talking about. Maybe some American, you go like Lido and Aldi, and they always do a tool section. I bought one for there, like I said, like 4 years ago. It lasted me 2 years, and then I bought this one. This done me good, lasted me, you know, a year. And then last year, the missus, she bought me like a combo pack out of the Milwaukee. So as I said, you know, just get what you can afford, get what you need. It's entirely preference like that. I done with the cheap drills for years. You know what I mean? Like Milwaukee, it's definitely true what they say when it comes to quality. Quality will last you a lot longer, and obviously you need to pay that wee bit extra for quality. And that moves us on to the next thing when it comes to drill pieces. Now, I have learned that the hard way, alright? When it comes to buying drill pieces, you're best just to splash out and to buy a good quality all-round set of drill pieces. And you can buy in a combo set. Sorry, let's go wood, drill bits, metal drill bits and masonry drill bits, but I definitely, you're going to need decent quality drill bits, because I don't know how many cheapo drill bits that I've bought that just burn out, blunt in before you know it, and you're sitting thinking, I could have bought 2 decent quality drill bits. So decent drill bits will definitely is a must. And then what I've got here are called Forstner bits, and these are just simple hole cutting drill bits, just bigger drill bits that will cut bigger holes for you. Forstner bits, again, they are invaluable when it comes to, you know, certain applications, depending on what you're doing, but it's good to have Forstner bits there. Now obviously I'm not going to go into every kind of tool, but I'm just trying to touch bases with the kind of majority of the bare essentials that you would need to do most kind of basic projects. So they drill bits, and then you've got the kind of flat spade drill bits, which again, these are just bigger circle cutting drill bits. And they're all useful when it comes to all sorts of woodworking, all sorts of things that you can be making that you're going to need some holes in. So Forstner bits, and then you've got your flat head spade bits. I called spade bits, so now, if you want to be a kind of hand tool purist and stay away from power tools and drills like that, then you want to get yourself one of these, which is a hand drill. And then you've got all these different type, different sizes of drills, and these are called auger bits. So I've got a good few of these, and I have used these loads of times. They are good fun to use. And you've got this big one here, which is an adjustable one. Then I've got this really old one here, and that's an adjustable one as well. And I've all got these bits here to fit into that. So if you want to be a hand tool purist, then you get these. So on to the next one. And one of the most important things that I cannot stress enough about is PPE. Make sure every time that you step in to do any sort of woodwork that you are wearing these things, safety glasses. Trust me, you do not want a splinter in your eyeball. You know, and if you are, see, with the basic tools that I've showed you so far, not so much that you would need these, alright, but you will need these definitely. If you are using kind of jigsaws, circular saws, table saws, band saws, sanders, any kind of machine that cuts wood and creates dust, you will definitely need these things without a shadow of a doubt. I used these for a long time, and my chest just got progressively worse, and stupid me, you know, didn't realise that really these were redundant because I've got a beard, and my beard, you know, all the fault it would all get through my beard. So I looked in the market for a long time for the right kind of PP for me, and I came across this, and my lovely wife, she bought me this for my birthday. It was my birthday last year, so, but again, this is a kind of, you know, just more expensive item, you know. It's just, I got by with these for a long time, and a decent set of safety glasses. These things are cheap, you know, both 20 quid, couple of pound for your safety glasses like that. And if you've not got a beard, then they will do you perfectly. But if you've got a beard, then they will not seal around your face properly. And then you will need to think about buying something like this. This has got its own wee air supply. Got a wee motor, and it gets pulled through these filters here, pushes it into this bit, and that seals right under your beard. It is perfect, and I use this basically every day, every second day. I've had to change the filters once, but if you look in there, it is still perfectly clean in there. And I just threw my, I had a spare pair of them. Yeah, and I just sort of jury rigged them, made them fit there. But I definitely, and obviously also ear protection as well. If you have got a sander or something, you may think that well, it's not that loud, it's not that loud, but if you're using that every day, trust me, your hearing is valuable and you will damage your hearing. You will damage your hearing if you're using a sander every day, like machine tools especially. I know that's after woodworking, but loud machines, using them constantly will damage your hearing. You can guarantee it. So I will move on to the next thing. You can't go wrong with having, a decent wee set of, screwdrivers, your star Phillips heads and your flat heads, and then your spanners, or as the Americans call them, your wrenches, your readjustable one, your mole grips, mole vices, whatever you call them. They will come in handy from time to time, depending what it is you're doing, depending the application. So it's always handy to have these kind of things, definitely. And this one might be an interest to somebody who wants to make chairs, furniture. It's a draw knife, and I actually made this draw knife myself for a big circular saw blade, and it's a very handy tool if you're wanting to, trim down wood, even make, kind of dowels, circular cylinder wood. Is a very useful tool. I have used it loads of times on loads of projects, and it works perfect. Like, it's a bit of a pain to sharpen, like, so that's a good tool to have as well. When it comes to woodworking, unless you're a master joiner, we're all going to use glue. No, I bought this glue when I first built this workshop nearly 4 years ago. I paid £20 for this, and there's still a wee bit at the bottom, but it's just dried up a wee bit, and it's just sort of finished. There's still a wee bit in it, like, and that done me for a long time, man. And upgraded to this stuff, wanted to try it, no regrets. It's a far superior glue to that, but don't get me wrong, that glue is still really good glue. To be honest, nowadays the kind of glues that we use, the wood glues, they're stronger than the wood. The wood will break before the glue breaks, so it's really personal preference and choice. As I said, that big one cost me £20. This one, I think I paid £26 for it. So personal preference. Get yourself a wee 500ml one that cost you, £6 or something like that, and that will do you for a good while. As I said, that has lasted me years, and this will last me years again. But an investment, that's what it is, so man. And it can be always handy to have a wee vise like this bolted to your workbench, because there'll be some times when you need to make cuts and stuff that one down there, it won't work. If you want to cut a bit of wood, you put that in there and you're going to end up cutting into your table. So sometimes, a vise like this comes in handy. Now obviously I did put the wooden jaws in here, and that was just for when I was doing something last week, but definitely one of them will come in handy for you. And the next thing, which is probably the last thing, is sandpaper. You're always going to need sandpaper when you're doing woodworking. Sandpaper will help you get a better finish, and the grades that I would tell you to get is a rough gauge, a rough grit 80, 120 and then 240. They will do everything you need. Basic, definitely. And These ones here, they're kind of a cheaper one, and then these are your more quality sandpaper. This sandpaper here will go 10 times further than this stuff, but it's only like maybe double the price. So I always get these rolls, just more convenient. They last a lot longer. You may pick this roll up here for maybe about £4 or £5, whereas this one maybe costs you about £6-7. But they're just far superior sandpaper. So aye, definitely sandpaper. And obviously, the most important thing that a woodworker needs is a workplace. Somewhere solid and big that you can do many projects on. Now, for the first, obviously up until about my extension, for the people who watched, I just used a wee bunker top spread right along here, and that served its purpose. That done everything I needed today. Obviously, when it comes to bigger items, I couldn't build, but a decent solid workbench and then a decent vise to hold your workpiece in. These are a must. Now, you can buy a metal woodworking vise and you can just clamp a wee bit of wood to it, and that will do everything you need. Saying, as long as you've got a decent workspace to do stuff on, that is all you need. Get yourself a wee vise. You're, 3/4 the way there. Right. So, about all the tools and how to source them, don't think that you need to go out and buy brand new. If I'm being perfectly honest, majority of companies nowadays, they make things with an expiration date, whereas things that were made maybe 30-40 years ago, they were made to last. So eBay is going to be a great resource and a friend, trust me. So you want to always look for job lot things on eBay, whether it's chisels, files, planes, just everything, rulers, spanners, screwdrivers, clamps, pliers. You will be able to get all of that stuff on eBay for a fraction of the price. That is a guarantee. So there we go, guys. I hope that you've found that helpful. Try to keep it simple. Try to show you every kind of tool that there is when it comes to, woodworking with hand tools. So when it comes to these tools, essentially, but all these tools that I've showed you, they are kind of the tools that most woodworkers, will have. But you'll get these tools as you come across needing the tools. But in the generalised sense, picking all the tools up will enable you to do most things when it comes to woodworking. Now, when it comes to projects and starting off with projects, there's a couple of basic things that you can make, and you can start off by making your tool holders to hold your tools. So plain holders, and that's one that that's a project I'll make, and we can make that together because that's a very simple project. A wee rack there, for your files and that. A wee holder here for your files. Now this wasn't the first one that I made. The first one I made, I had just like just something. It was like that, and I had wee bits like that, and it held them up that way. Wee small racks like this, wee racks for your clamps, wee holders for your screwdrivers, your saws, and most of them are just a back plate and a wee ledge. That's what I saw most of them are, for your spannels, or for your American wrenches, for your hammers. And this is, I did just throw this thing together in like a day, and it is just 2 bits of wood with a wee bit between them just to hold them in place. You could make some shells, and then a wee kind of holder for your drills, another wee kind of rack for the glasses and that. So they were the sort of things that I had started making, just like dipping my feet in the water, so to speak, and they're the kind of best things to get you started. Now, obviously you might not have a workshop or a shed, you might not have the means to have a big table like that, and you can buy kind of smaller wee tables, and that's all you need to really get started, you know. But definitely that's all you really need to get started. But I hope that this video has been a help to somebody, just showing you the basic tools, you know, just showing you some of the tool holders that I made in the beginning, and that's kind of things that you maybe want to try and take, you know, make. A couple of wee boxes that you can make, toro holders, spice racks, chopping boards. You want to just try and make things where there's no many cuts and there's a lot of room for error, you know, and it can be easily fixed. So I hope this has been a help to some of you, just to show you the kind of tools that you need to get started. Now obviously you don't need everything I've shown you, you know, basic chisel, ruler, saws, planes, some marking, you know, pencils and that, rulers. They kind of things are, you know, just what you would need in the beginning just to start making some simple boxes, tool holders, so just things like that. So I'm thinking that in the next part we'll discuss all the kind of power tools and machines that are involved in woodworking, and then in the next part, part 3, we'll discuss the joinery, all the joints that are used in joinery. We'll discuss them, what they are and what they're used for. And then in part 4, we'll actually try and make something, you know, don't know, I've not decided what we'll make yet. Maybe just be a wee box or something, or maybe a wee tool holder like I've said. At the end of the day, when it comes down to carpentry and joinery, woodworking in a whole, it all starts off with a box. In its simplistic form, everything is a box, you know, and just as you progress, it's just a more advanced box. I know it seems, you know, but that is it, and it's a key element. You're making boxes, and as you progress, your boxes become more sophisticated, you know. So maybe that's the best thing to start with, is to make just a simple wee box with maybe rebate joints on it, or rabbit joints, what you call them, just wee grooves that they slide in. So obviously show you all the tools first, and then you can pick up some of the tools, and then we'll discuss you know, the joinery, how you actually join wood together, and then we can move on to a project like that. So again, I hope that this has been a help to some of you, and maybe encouraged and motivated some of you to you know, start getting some tools together, and then we'll make a wee project together, and I'll make it with just the hand tools so you can follow along, and maybe we can make something cool together. Alright guys, so take it easy and God bless. I'll see you in the next project. Alright guys, and build some, guys. See you later. So hey guys, if you've liked what you've seen and heard so far and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. And leave a wee comment, and why don't you tell me, just if there's any questions, just anything that I never made clear, or fire it in the comments and I'll try and get back to you. And I'll put these other parts out in pretty quick succession. I'll not leave them too far. So hit that like button, leave a comment, tell me what you think. And if you're not subscribed, as I said, hit that subscribe button and turn the bell notification on to all, so that you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. So guys, I'll see you later, right?